Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hopefully, you had a great and magnificent weekend, because it is a magnificent Monday. Let's see what's going on today. We didn't really have too much of a gap on the markets. Kind of all know about Friday's bearishness, but it basically flat open. Not really too much of a crazy move there. Kind of sideways for the first 25 minutes or so. And then we got on our horse. We've kind of just been bullish really over the past hour. So nice. I mean, we had a pretty good drop on Friday. So, I mean, not totally unexpected to see some kind of a try to buy the dip, bounce back kind of day. Anyways, SPY up not quite 0.5%, but almost. Q's a little bit more of a gap up here. I mean, it's kind of subtle, but we did gap up almost 0.2%, and we didn't quite get negative there in the first 25 minutes on a pullback, 20 minutes or so, but we got kind of close, and we just kind of just like the SPY went on a run, a little bit more aggressive run here in past hour or so. So currently up 0.95% there on the Qs. IWM is currently up about 0.75%. You can see a little bit of a gap up there. Broke the neutral line for a little bit, maybe about 10 minutes or less, and then it got on its horse, went riding high. DIA, basically a little bit of a gap down, not much, sideways. All right, not too much kind of going on here with the DIA. It's basically flat, just slightly positive. RSPs are up a little bit more in the third, basically flat open. Little bit of a gap up, a little flat open there, trading higher past hour and a half since the market's been open. Okay, so that's kind of how they look intraday. So the RSP is slowly making its way, bouncing off that 20 EMA up to about that 10. Okay, not a bad look. It is with us. So yeah, this is real tough because with the market breaking down that low from the election Wednesday kind of lower wick that we had there on, at least on the RSP. I mean, it just opens this door up to come fill the gap all the way down to that election Tuesday. At that point in time, it's gonna look kind of ugly. DIA, yeah, this is the only one that's a little bit more bearish than the others, but it's not crazy. Sitting around top of that 10 EMA. It hasn't even really retested into this previous all-time high back in mid-October. I would say the DIA goes a little bit lower sometime. Maybe not today, but I'd imagine sometime over the next few days it probably does. I would still like to be bullish on the IWM on this breakout. Kind of talked about that over the past couple of months. It's just been really choppy, having a hard time getting to this level. I'd rather wait for the breakout. We got that 2 weeks ago on the election week. Yeah, I think pulling back, being bullish on that level around 225 to 226, basically kind of where it started getting into that 20 EMA. I think you're just kind of buying in that area. I think it doesn't look too bad there. Q's getting a huge bounce back today. Nice. Yeah, we know the Q's had a massive breakdown on Friday. It was a pretty brutal day. I believe, let me check real quick, NVDA earnings are this week, so that could be a big reason why the Qs are seeing quite a bit of strength. So tech price does stay strong through NVIDIA earnings after that. Depending on how much bullishness we see in tech before NVIDIA's earnings, we could definitely see some selling come back in. If tech doesn't do much going into those, but not counting what they've already done now, but they don't do much going into NVIDIA's earnings, and NVIDIA kind of says some really positive things, then you might see tech run bullish after, but usually that's not the case. Right now, the market mentality is be bullish going into those kinds of events and then sell it after. That's been the mentality for the past, almost 2 years. All right, anyways, Qs looking kind of strong today, but I wouldn't want to be aggressively bullish with NVIDIA's earnings coming up. Unless you're just going to be bullish before. I wouldn't want to be bullish after. SPY. Yeah, I mean, it had this pullback to the previous all-time high on Friday. I mean, you're going to get some kind of bounce. Kind of makes sense. If we do break down that low from Friday, though, we got a pretty good pocket in here, down to that 50 EMA at least. I would probably expect us to probably run to. Not shocked we're getting a bounce. That's about the main thing. VIX pulling down a little bit. Nice little gap up. Gap up Mondays on VIX. All right, that's all we got there. Dollar continuing its very subtle pullback. Hasn't even broke the Friday low yet. So yeah, it's still just kind of hanging out basically at the highs of this year and last year. After it broke the highs late last week. Broke the highs of this year late last week. GLD bouncing back. Look at the strong move on GLD. Okay. Oh, I need the long terms. There we go. Yeah, I got close to that 100 moving average. Kind of talking about it like you're really close. You probably want to at least start dip buying there. I like this consolidation spot. And then this double top high back here. Around the 225, 226 area. So not surprised we're seeing some choppiness, but until we get through all these moving averages that are now downtrending, I'd probably just be looking to be dip buyers, which, yeah, I mean, that's it. Just be buying dips on gold. 10-year yield, throwing some more dojis around. It's like 4 days in a row of doji action there on the 10-year yield. Still steadily climbing through there. 10-2 inversion, also steadily kind of continuing higher, not really doing a whole lot. HYG, high yield corporate bonds. Yeah, this thing would have got me. Would have got me, man. It would have got me. Talked about moving that stop loss up just under that 20 EMA last week. It would have got me on Friday. And then if that's where it bounces, it's almost perfect, right? Sometimes the market just does that. Just gets you. But yeah, I mean, if it bounces, it bounces. And I think the main way that I'd be looking to be playing the bonds anyways is probably just bullish HYG and bearish LQD, TLT. We've talked about that before. Just, I don't think anything right now is changing my opinion on that. LQD, not exactly seeing a lot of bullishness. Had a pretty good gap down. I mean, this thing just might chop down here at these lows, which is if it does do that, if it chops down here at these lows where it's at, and these moving averages push it down, I mean, this thing might have a pretty good breakdown going into December. Yeah, TLT. I mean, TLT even continuing lower. Jeez. Yeah, these bonds, man. Bonds not looking. All right, as far as sector rotation, discretionary is doing very nice. Okay, discretionary is doing pretty good. Communications doing pretty good. Staples, energies also outperforming. Tech slight outperformance. Makes sense. Materials and utilities slight underperformance. Real estate underperforming. Industrials, financials, and healthcare at the lower end of the day. As far as intraday price action, we got financials, energies at the lower end of the day. Industrials, healthcare also underperforming. Materials underperforming a little bit there. Discretionary, staples, utilities, real estate, and tech all outperforming there. And then you got communications actually leading the best intraday. Interesting.